Coming up at our Schweeken Speedway. Friday, August 30th, Pinty's Delicious Foods presents Back to School Backpack Night. Every child in attendance has the chance to win a new backpack filled with school supplies donated by our amazing race teams. And on the track, it's a full card of action, plus Gale's mini stock cash blast that will pay $1,000, $500, and $300 for the top 3 mini stock finishers. Friday, September 6th, Epic Racewear presents Championship Friday. All divisions will battle hard on the final points night of the season, September 6th. The final round in the quest for the rings. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's Rivalz race chat on a cooling off end of summer. What day is it? Wednesday? Yeah, it's getting to be that part of the season, Adam. We don't even know what day it is anymore. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. It's been busy. I'm excited for tonight. It's going to be a fun show. We have lots to talk about tonight.
It's funny how when you start to do a little bit of prep, you realize how much stuff we could actually cram into 1 hour, and the idea is to keep it to a 1 hour show. So once again, I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us. This is your chance to feel free to comment, get involved with the conversation any way you can. Let us know what you want to talk about. We've got a bit of a rundown going down on the right side. We've got some awesome guests. Last week's show was really cool to have Matt Williamson and Gary Clute on. And I think we both talked about it at CTMP on the weekend, how we pushed the boundaries a little bit. And we were able to get Matt on a mobile device up north from the cottage, which was cool, and the quality was still watchable. And then also Gary Clute join us from his office as he prepped for the big weekend. So that was amazing to have all those guys with us, Adam. So let's jump right into our race week, our race recap from the weekend. You've had busy weekends, as did Spencer, who actually kind of took the weekend off and helped us out by hanging out. And we didn't get to see him much till Sunday, but he actually called in sick Friday race, and hopefully you had a good time, Spencer. But Adam, talk about your weekend first.
It was a busy one, Clint. I mean, our weekend Friday night, you know what? Even a bad night at the dirt races is still a pretty good night. But I just wasn't really thrilled with how Friday night's racing went. I thought it was just choppy. We couldn't get into a good flow. It was a frustrating night, and nothing terrible happened. But it was just one of those nights where you get to the end and think, man, that was a struggle all night long. There was some great racing, some exciting finishes, but I just felt we can do a lot better than that in terms of a product. It was a late night drive to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. We got in, I want to say, somewhere between 2:30 and 3 in the morning, just grabbed a spot that we could park the trailer, jump in the back, sleep for a few hours, and fantastic weekend in NASCAR racing. The atmosphere at that event is very, very special. Like it's a really cool vibe you get there. Great to see a lot of our short track friends come out to CTMP to watch the show. I didn't hear a single bad thing about it.
No, and I think it's safe to say it's still growing, at least with our short track family, if you will, the fans who are maybe not so much in touch with the road race courses. But man, that race has grown every year. I see more and more people out there year after year from our neck of the woods in our short track world. And I think the sheer amount of fans and everybody just came up to talk to us, say hello. It grows every year. So that is super cool. From my end of the word, I ended up working with Stuart Friesen in spotting, which was super cool to be part of his team with Trip Bruce and the other spotters. And, just to see how the pros do it, how they keep them calm. I think the race needed a yellow in the truck race. It certainly would have changed our strategy a little bit, because as we're running fifth with Stuart, I kept thinking, man, if we get a yellow here, these guys are at least going to wreck one or two of them. We could be running for the podium here, but we didn't quite get it. Hats off to Brett Moffitt and his team, who just flat out dominated the weekend. It was pretty impressive to see them. They qualified right up front and drove away from everybody every restart.
He spanked the field. Like that was because every year in the truck race, no matter how it starts, it always comes to an exciting conclusion. And this one really didn't. The dynamite never went off on the last lap, but it certainly did in the Pinty Series race. And we're going to have that conversation in a little bit. I'm going to be curious to see if Alex Tagliani is still angry 3 days later. Clint, I have a feeling he will be.
Well, Spencer will let us know if we get them dialed in here. We can have a chat with them as soon as we can.
And wait a second, I'm going to cut you off. Mike just sent us a note. Tyler Dipple got reinstated tonight. That's another big story that we should be talking about. If there's a link that you can share, Mike, in the comments, please do. Because it was one of our old friends. Clint, do you even know about this? Do you know who helped get the ball rolling to get Tyler Dipple reinstated?
No, I don't know anything about it.
It was Gasket Case. Jay Carpinello, one of the biggest pains in the ass in the history of online motorsports coverage, wrote a feature story in Dirt Track Digest, and he told Tyler Dipple's side of the story. How a friend of his put his bag and his prescriptions in his truck, and that's why it wound up in the truck. How everything happened with the cops, and it was a compelling story. It was so compelling that it got picked up nationally, and his story was quoted and from other news sources talking about the suspension and what happened to Tyler Dipple. And it looks like if he has been reinstated, I think that's phenomenal. And Jay Carpinello is a big part of that.
If you don't know Jay, he was a big shit disturber at Dirt Week many years, doing crazy videos. And it's funny you say that, and kudos to Jay if that is the case, and congrats to Tyler for getting everything back in line. But if Gasket Case is the one guy you rely on to get your NASCAR license back, you told me that on Sunday, I'd be laughing and saying, well, say bye-bye to your NASCAR career. My bet would not have been on Gasket Case to get it back in order for him. So interesting story. Yeah, there were lots of rumors flying, and glad to see what appears coming out now. To answer Mike's question, yes, the 52 did go to a backup. Stewart crashed in practice session number 1. Stewart sent me a message yesterday as I was just thanking them for having me on the team. He said that one of the big deals, we thought he ran out of gas coming to the finish. It turns out there was still 2 gallons in the bottom when they got it back to the shop. Looks like it was a pickup or a fuel pump issue on the 52 that caused him to drop from 5th to 7th on that lap. And as it would come to the back straightaway, Razy got out of my view up to Mario Andretti straightaway. That's when we told him. He started yelling on the radio, I'm out of gas, and they made a late flag, but he chanced it and was able to hold on for almost one more lap, not quite to the end, but pretty exciting deal to be a part of the whole weekend. Awesome to see it grow. Awesome to see how many people actually stung around Saturday night. I was there till Monday, and there were tons of people still camping there when we were packing up to go home. And so I'm not sure how long they let you stay, but it's certainly worth your time.
It's quite possible some of those people haven't left yet. Maybe they don't leave.
Well, we were talking, maybe some people booked their holidays and stick around. So it was a great weekend. If you've never been to the CTMP event there, I challenge you to check out the spring race or the fall race for the races we go to, at least, which are the NASCAR Pinty Series events, which are always exciting to watch and be a part of. The spring one almost always rains, but they always get the race in, and that sometimes adds for some excitement. So let's take a quick break. Let's talk about some of the other stuff we've got going on while we wait for a couple of guests to join us here, Adam. Let's talk about victory games in the pools that are going on right now this week. We've got a bunch of big pools coming up for the short track super nationals, short track nationals, this weekend coming up, Adam. You helped consult on those pools a little bit. They're up now and running. What's your thoughts on what's going to happen this weekend at Jukasa?
Fireworks, Clint. Last year was fantastic. I mean, Alex Nagy, Kenny Hill, Jerry Montour, they created this event, and I think not everybody bought in. I think not everyone believed. A bunch of cars showed up, and it was a great race. But this year, the level of competition is even higher. The way they're running the race is going to be fantastic. I talked to the boys at Grisdale's today. They have already taken orders for 50 cars for tires. So there's 74 cars pre-registered. Pre-registration isn't necessarily an indicator of what we're going to have. But when someone places an order for tires, that is. So if 50 people have ordered their tires ahead of time, I'd say at least 10 are going to pick up their tires after the fact. So I think you're going to see a lot of race cars vying to get into that event for $75,000 to win.
So we do have Rivalz pulls up with that. We're going to talk a lot more about the Canadian Short Track Nationals coming up later in the show. But quickly, the pools that are open for Rivalz, and you go to racerivals.com. It's here in the lower right corner of your screen. You can pick it up. Racerivals with a Z.com. Current pools are for this weekend, Schweekend, August 30th. Pools are up for the Canadian Short Track Nationals, including the Outlaw Super Late models, the Super Stocks, and the Pro Late models. APC event, September 14th, is up as well. And the NFL Week 1 will be coming soon. Get your picks in Sunday. By Sunday, September 8th at 1 p.m. will be the first NFL pool, so make sure you get involved with that and check that out. Current active promotions at Victory Games is their best offer yet. $1,000 in total deposit, 5% off your first deposit, 200% off your second, and $300 off your third, for a total of $1,000. $1,000 your total deposit bonuses. So make sure you check those out. Don't forget, free additional $5 to anyone who uses email money transfer. Email money transfer is the fastest, safest, and most secure way to get more than just slots, blackjack, video. Sign up and check the site. Be sure to use your bonus cash. And Spencer, where are my screenshots that I gave you right there? That's when you're supposed to fill graphics in. All right.
Wow. Did you just talk smack to Spencer?
I did.
Spencer's the only person we can't talk shit to. Spencer is untouchable. We leave him alone. He's the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, you don't talk to the Wizard of Oz like that.
Commands respect. So, if we may, I expect Alex Tagliani, he was supposed to chime in about 9:15, so I expect him here in a few minutes. Spencer, can you queue up Clint? Are we okay to show the finish of Sunday's race now? I'd like to show some clips and talk about the NASCAR way.
Go for it.
You okay? You okay? Okay, so Spencer, bring up Sunday's race. So the clip from the end, here's Kevin Lacroix going into turn 8. 4 or 5 car lengths between him and Alex Tagliani. Through turn 9, closed the gap. He loves making this move. He stayed on the track. He avoided the rumble strips, made the pass for the win. Tagliani was furious. Tag closes in, so this is the cool down lap through turn 1. I think it was about turn 3 when Tagliani eventually caught up to Lacroix and showed his displeasure. What's curious to me, Clint, is historically, so there was a lot of complaining, hey, was that a clean pass? Why is that allowed? Well, geez, and the truck finishes, and we're about to see how Tagliani reacted and responded to that move. One good shot to Kevin Lacroix, and then they both carried on and sort of did their own thing. I thought for a minute they might get out and take matters into their hands, but Kevin Lacroix drove away wisely, headed towards victory lane. The reason it's such a big story, for one, Alex Tagliani is furious at what a dirty move, kamikaze move was the word he used. But Spencer, do me a favor, run any of the other clips that I sent you. So this is the 13th year, Clint, of this series. We have a long history of drivers doing whatever they want to achieve victory. And in the truck series as well, there's a history of them doing whatever they want. This is the exception to the rule. This is last spring's race at CTMP. The tables were turned. Kevin Lacroix was leading on the last lap. Here goes Ranger chasing him down. Look, these cars are on the edge of control. Watching these guys and how hard they push these race cars is unbelievable. What you're about to see, and take this in, folks, the only time in the history of the series there has been a move made for the lead on the last lap that was aggressive enough that the officials penalized the driver. Here it comes.
Whew,
Ranger, he got up the inside of him. He didn't jack him up from behind. He got up the inside, made the move. Lacroix spins out, LP Dumoulin goes on to win the race. Andrew Ranger did not win the race, and I believe this has a great amount of weight in why maybe they made this call. The race ends. LP Dumoulin takes the win. Andrew Ranger, if I'm not mistaken, was scored last car on the lead lap. That was his penalty for spinning out Lacroix. Run a clip from, any of the other ones we've got, Spencer. How many did I send you, 3 or 4? Okay, here we go in Montreal. This is the end of the Montreal race back in 2010. Andrew Ranger's trying to break the draft from Kerry Mix. Kerry Mix goes to outbreak him into the last chicane, completely shortcuts the racetrack. Absolutely against the rules, 4 wheels off the racetrack. No call. This was just an exciting finish. Because if he didn't, he would have hit Andrew Ranger. So they end about half a car length apart. Show the other finish, which is also at Montreal, between Andrew Ranger and Jason Bowles. So Ranger's leading the way as they go down into the hairpin corner. Bowles just drives it in, punts Ranger up out of the way. Andrew Ranger has phenomenal car control. So Bowles got around him. All they have to do is they've got this little chicane here, then one other big chicane with heavy braking to get to the finish. So Jason Bowles took the lead. He was looking to win his first ever NASCAR Canadian Tire Series race at the time. Andrew Ranger back to second. Bowles did not hit Ranger hard enough. Ranger, look at how deep he's driving. That car is almost out of control under braking. Jacks him up, stuffs him into the wall. Jason Bowles' day is done. If you could hear the crowd noise in this clip. This race took place back then at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, Clinton, and the fans were so rabid to see their local drivers that they were up early in the morning, lined up all around the racetrack. So there's a taste of what's been allowed over the years. And I understand we've got Alex with us now, Spencer. Is he queued up and ready to go? The reason I wanted to show all of that, the reason I wanted to show that history is because NASCAR has a history of letting the boys have at it, letting them race things out. The one exception was last spring when Andrew Ranger got into Kevin Lacroix. It looked very similar to what happened with Kevin Lacroix and Alex Tagliani. And Alex, have we got you with us?
Yeah, I'm there.
Hey, Alex, how's it going?
Yeah, very good. You?
Looks like we're having some trouble connecting. We can see him. We have no sound from him, and I think he has no sound from us from the looks of it. Spencer, take a minute and see if you can work that out with Tagliani and Clint. So the issue is, was Sunday's finish at CTMP just hugely exciting, or was it controversial?
I think it was hugely exciting. I mean, they made it controversial. I was on pit road there with the TSN crew, and I know a lot of the crews were upset about an earlier restart where they felt there was some brake checking going on, and I know Klute's team wasn't happy with Tagliani's. As a matter of fact, I know John Fletcher had some words with Tyler Case on their way down after the pit road at the end of the night. And I think there's some, there's some precedent's been set there, Adam. My question goes back to, now we showed a lot of finishes there. Was last year, do you think NASCAR felt they made a mistake by making a call, and that's why we're not seeing a call on this one?
The only thing I can speculate there is the fact that Ranger didn't win the race. It allowed them to make an example of Andrew Ranger, not affect the winner of the race and penalize somebody. And it's harder to do on the last corner. That's all I can guess. And I'm not saying that was a bad call and this was a good call, but I'm saying it's very hard to understand what's allowable and what's not allowable. Let's try to get Alex on again. Alex, have you got us this time?
I can hear you well, Adam.
Oh, what a Alex, you got us?
Yeah, I can hear you very well, Adam.
Sorry about the difficulties, and I thank you. So Clinton, to fill you in, it's past Ava's bedtime, so Alex had to make sure we could do this on his phone in a spot where he was not going to disrupt his daughter's sleep. So he graciously allowed us to do this on the phone, and we appreciate the time that you've taken. Alex, has the disappointment from Sunday morning worn off yet?
I would say no. I'm still hugely disappointed by the race. As you know, I'm very close to the crew, and I have a hard time to see their face and to see the disappointment. And these guys work really hard. The frustration. So yeah, the whole thing was not good. And if you want to get in the technical aspect of it, then we can talk about that.
Yeah, and let's do that. I mean, this is the opportunity to chat about it. The last two road course races, you don't need me to tell you, but for our viewers, you have been leading late in both of them, and both of them have had controversial finishes. One, a car has spun out at corner exit. You go right, LP Dumoulin goes left. He takes the lead, wins the race. In this case, you didn't even get on the podium. That last lap, we just showed the last few corners a couple of minutes ago where Lacroix closed in. I mean, it was amazing how much he closed in. But walk us through that and why you're not happy about that turn of events. Aside from the obvious that you didn't win a race you thought you should win, what about it disappoints you or upsets you the most?
Well, first of all, I'm gonna make some comments that it doesn't really, they're not comments that are just to advantage me. They're general comments, and I'm trying to be very logical in what happened in GP3R, right? Where on an oval, we have to understand NASCAR has a full line of sight almost the entire track. Someone touches the wall, they decide to go full course yellow. It will be happening in a flash. Spotters will see it too. You react fairly quickly. Everybody's out of danger. On a road course, the first line of sight is the corner marshal. If you look at the replay in slow motion, you can see that the corner marshal is coming out. It has his blue flag out of the fence in your face. Drivers, high level. So if there's a time delay for the main official to say, well, does he have his engine on? Did he stall? Is he going to put it in first gear? Is he going to restart? Do we to go full course yellow? Can we avoid it? By the time there's a delay, the corner marshal has the view of the car there. The reason why he should be, first of all, the main guy that you respect is because you can't see on the other side. So if you want to make it safe, you better listen to the corner marshal because he's the one that can see what's going on. Number two, the message that you're sending as NASCAR is, listen, guys, there's a guy that spun. He's in the middle of the track. But you know what? You could actually take advantage of a guy that decides to slow down because he doesn't know what's on the other side. So go, pass each other. And I can tell you that on the tracks that we run on road course, Mossport, turn 4, Toronto, turn 3, turn 5, turn 8, turn 9, 10, 11. If someone hits the fence, and we had one example, camera hits the tire, sticks out almost half of the car in the racing line. It's basically free for all. If you're saying to the drivers, guys, if someone hits the fence and there's a blue flag that's considered as a caution flag because there's an incident, go. Do whatever you want. You can pass. In my personal opinion, it doesn't matter if I lost the race because of the incident and I could have contend, and try to win it towards the end if the incident would have not happened. What I look at it is we learn something at GP3R and we need to react to it. Forget about the result now. Just look at it from a future perspective and say, what happened if someone spins in turn 4 at the bottom of the hill? And what we all know now is that we can all take advantage of someone that doesn't want to risk, but we can actually pass him. So let's go on the outside of turn 4 in Mosport and let's pass, even if there's a guy in the middle of the road. And the funny thing, Adam, is I went to the Ranger and I said, hey, buddy, what do you think about? And I went to DJ and I went to other guys.
I was with you. I
"Hey,
was
Andrew."
actually with you.
Yeah, exactly. And I said, what do you think about that rule? And he goes, I raced in NASCAR for 12 years and I didn't even know that we were able to pass under yellow. So I'm going to be able to do it now. So do you see that, he was basically observing the rule by road course standard because that's what he knows. And he thinks that if someone spins, there's no way he's going to try to pass someone. But now that he knows that it's possible, as race car driver, you're going to try to take advantage of every possibility.
Yeah.
And I just think that this particular rule that we have it could create potential issues in the future. So I think it's up to us to bring it up on the table and say, are you guys comfortable racing in many racetracks where there's a lot of blind corners, where you might have a big time delay between the corner marshal and the decisions of the main official to throw a full course yellow? Are you willing to race flat out for position when you don't know what's on the other side? And if everybody goes, let's do it, then I'm just going to oblige by the majority. But that doesn't mean that I think it's the safe thing to do. That's for the question of the Three River side. In Mosport, I think it's my biggest problem is the inconsistency. I've been penalized in Toronto on a move that I did on Ranger. I got a black flag, drive through, the whole shebang. I went to the series and I said, listen, I actually attempted a move. It was an aggressive move. It was optimistic. The biggest mistake I've done when I spoke with Andrew is that I took for granted that he saw me. He had no spotter there. And even
that
if
was
I
turn
was in
5.
his door, correct. Unfortunately, he had no intention, not intention, sorry. He had no desire to give me any room. He had no idea that I made that move. And one thing that I'm doing now is I'm trying to find out where the spotters are and if people have spotters in specific places, just so I know which driver maybe didn't see me or could potentially has a spotter for those particular corners. Nevertheless, I took the penalty, took my pill, and I said, look, good job. If you guys start by doing this, I think it could be a good thing. But the biggest problem is that there's been a ton of inconsistency in penalties. And the biggest thing that I saw at Mosport is that a driver or drivers that are pro or specialist of road course, or we come from road course. I consider DJ Kennington a specialist of oval. I consider Kevin Lacroix a specialist on road course. We are very smart, okay? And we know what needs to be done to try to attempt a pass. And the biggest thing that I don't appreciate is that when I saw the replay, when I saw that picture where there's absolutely zero room and he makes the braking, he realizes that he's not going to make it, but then he reaccelerates to hit. I just find it like so lame, because when you're a road course guy, the first thing you're going to try to do at least is create an opportunity where you could actually try to make a pass. And there's a ton of instances, a ton of videos, a ton of pictures where you can actually pause at some passes that were done in turn 10, and you need to see how far along you have to be beside the guy to even actually think that the pass could be made. If I would have gone in the grass because a guy is trying to make a pass, it gets super tight, he gets in my door, we come out on the front straightaway, I'm in the grass, I would have had more respect than if someone just doesn't even has the guts to even put himself in a situation where he could be making a mistake. A lot easier to bump and pass. Because when you do that, you make no mistakes. You make the other guy go off. But when you're putting your nuts on the line to make a pass, it could either go two ways. Either you go straight because you missed the apex and you get the chance of the other guy to crisscross you, or you basically go door to door. But just realizing that there is no hole and say, well, you know what? For the win, I can do the push. In my opinion, Adam, you don't need to be a pro to do that. We want to call ourselves a professional series. We want to call ourselves the high level series. We want to do all kinds of things. But this, you don't need to be a pro to do that. Anybody can do that, right? So if I want to start doing this, well, somebody told me, just make sure you lift on the back straightaway and you approach the last corner in second place and then do that to the guy. Think about it, okay? Someone is telling me you just need to lift, purposely position yourself second, so you make sure you do that to the other guy. I mean, what is this? Are we in racing? And lastly, I will tell you this. We have a tendency to take racing differently than a lot of the sports, okay? And that is a big mistake. When you play football and you grab somebody by the mask, there's a penalty. If you touch someone before he receives the pass, it's pass interference. If you cross-check someone, you get a penalty, okay? They're not going to say, hey, you cross-check someone, they stole the puck from you, they shot to the net, they missed, and you don't have a concussion, so it's not a penalty. But if you get a cross-check, you get a concussion, they stole the puck from you, and they score, well, that we're going to give a penalty to that. And I'm telling you, I spoke to some people at NASCAR, and it's literally what they said to me, and it's completely ridiculous. So
here's what I want to close with, Alex, because I don't want to take up your whole night. 3 races to go. Kevin Lacroix is in a points championship battle.
Yeah,
you got a piece of him on the cool down lap, but is there more to come? Is this over for you, Alex, or are you angry enough that this could affect things moving forward?
well, my style is not, like, I'm not gonna purposely go out there and try to look for a revenge. But I told him this. He knows it. I'm going to race him the way he raced me. I'm not gonna race Ranger or Dumoulin or DJ the way Lacroix raced me because I'm frustrated and I want to win a race. No. I'm only gonna race him the way he raced me. And the day that the series is going to step in and it's going to say, guys, I have enough of this nonsense of dirty driving and try to blow up some valve stems and banging doors on yellows and all that stuff. I see all these tricks. The day that they're going to step it up and they're going to start doing something, then the drivers, they don't do anything. They just have to abide by the rule. But right now, nothing gets done. So I don't accept what he did. I don't think it's fair. I don't think that it was professional. I think he was too concerned about his own temporary glory, and he didn't resist the temptation of giving the bumper. And we have to make a big difference, Adam, on a short oval, tapping someone because you're quick, you're moving him, and you're passing, and you're showing him that you're moving away. That's one thing. But bringing that same philosophy on road course, when all road course ace are completely understanding how it is, I think it's basically lying to each other. And I really don't like that sort of mentality. So I don't support it. I'm never going to support it. But because the series is forcing me to adapt to this complete stupid rule, I'm going to race the guys the way they race me. And I'm going to start with Kev. And that's it. So I'm not going to look for him. I'm not going to slow down. I'm not going to do things on purpose because I don't believe that either. But when I'm going to be racing against him, I'm going to race against him the way he raced me. And I think that's fair.
Alex, we all saw the cool down lap. We saw it from the point, his contact, your contact on the cool down lap. What takes place after that? Because that's basically where the coverage ends from the Pinty's series. And we obviously want to touch on your success on the truck side, so we don't want to get into it too long. But quickly take us through what happened after the contact in turn 3. Any post-race comments between yourself and their crew, or what went down on the cool down lap to till you got in your truck?
Yeah, so I wanted to pin him there because I wanted to have a face-to-face discussion with him, because I didn't believe that involving the team or team members and other people was the thing to do, especially because the previous day I got like threatened by his father. Funny enough, the way the race ends was completely the opposite of where my warning came from. But anyway, that's another story. Don't appreciate that either, because that's not the way I live my life. But nevertheless, he basically made sure that he just ran away pretty quickly. So, and that's where it ended. I didn't have the opportunity to go talk to him face to face. It was by text afterwards. And I've not responded to the latest text. I'm not going to do it. I think I had enough of, talking like we're turning blue. It's not worth it. I think, for his own, purpose. And that's it. If it's the 7th game of the Stanley Cup, get passed by someone and
Have things frozen up there? Okay. Well, I'm going to send Alex a text and tell him he froze up, and thank him for joining us. Clint, I just wish he would tell us what's on his mind.
I hate when these drivers give us all the fluff. Hey,
Alex,
there you heard it.
So Clinton sends me a note about 5 minutes into that interview. Do I get to ask a question here? I've been around Alex Tagliani enough to know if you don't interrupt him, he would keep talking until Friday. It wouldn't have ended. So I had to break in. So I encouraged you to do it, Clinton, and you nailed it. But he gave us some great feedback, his opinion. And like I say, I watch that and I don't see it entirely the way he does, but you have to respect the man's opinion. He's been there, done that.
Great to have
Thanks,
one of the starts. Oh, he's back.
Thanks so much, Alex. We lost you for a minute. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate you taking the time, and your opinion means a lot to us and our viewers. You're a real pro.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Thank you so much.
We'll see you in St. Eustache. All the best.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
So Alex
Tagliani, have one of Canada's premier drivers.
Getting to know him over the years, great race car drivers have a lot in common. Alex Tagliani, Andrew Ranger, Kevin Lacroix, Dylan Westbrook. I don't care what the type of racing is, but just a way that they handle themselves and carry themselves. And Alex is so passionate about the opinions that he gives. He is fun to talk to. You just have to invest a little bit of time, but once he gets going, and I've been on the receiving end of some of his conversations too, things that he didn't like that I said, you hear him out, you listen to it, and you fight back if you feel you need to, but it's usually a lot of listening.
I know one thing, Adam, that you are always a stickler on, as long as we've been friends, as long as we've been writing and covering stories, is getting both sides of the story. We did ask Kevin Lacroix to be with us here. We kind of know Spencer, he has not shown up yet, so we're going to move on from this story. We'd love to have Kevin on whenever he's available, but we did reach out to them to get them on as well, and Tag showed up. Kevin couldn't make it tonight, apparently, so we'll move on out of that story. unless you got some news there, Adam, on your phone. But
I just texted Kevin to see if he's available, and I'm just texting Alex to thank him. I think it's
we got
important.
so much more to cover. We'll see if he comes back. Let's talk about a few other stories coming on. Of course, Weekend this Friday, it's the All North Racing on MAV TV. It is pre-race autograph and marketplace. That is so if you are a fan, come out and see the drivers behind the grandstand from 5:30 to 6:30. You can pick up their apparel, get their autographs. It's also backpack night where the driver had the opportunity to buy backpacks up with school supplies. We have anywhere from 50 to 100 backpacks to give away to kids on race night. Tight points battle in all three classes with 2 nights to go. So it would be crazy to see if Mac DeMann can hold off Dylan Westbrook in the next 2 weeks. You've got quite a battle between Jesse Costa, Nick Sheridan, and Lucas Smith in the crates, and an even tighter one with Kyle Wirt. And those guys, well, not even tighter, but it is tight with those guys after the last couple weeks with both Kyle Wirt, Tim DeBoer having problems. It was a crazy event. So Weekend Speedway this Friday, Adam. Why we want to talk about that quickly is the balance between supporting the audience we've been building with our live stream over the past 3 seasons, and then that with the All North Racing broadcast on MAV TV. Well, some of the comments we've heard is, oh, it's just a big cash grab. Well, for one, we had to find, tens of thousands of almost $100,000 to put that show on. So it's certainly not a cash grab from us. It's that discussion between servicing the audience that we have weekly, Adam, and reaching for a 5 million household audience with MAV TV. And I know you, for one, have it being on the road with the Pinty Series with NASCAR, and I've heard people from all over the country say they are appreciating what's going on. So let's quickly talk about that.
Well, I think we're going to get to the point where everyone's going to be able to see the racing. Right now, we have the early stages of a relationship that we're very positive about. Pinty's is very positive about, and MAV TV Canada is very positive about. So we don't want to create any friction there at this point. But I think it is compelling, the number of notes that we get saying, hey, we really want to watch this racing. And you're making it impossible for us to do so. So we'll find a solution. It's not going to happen this season, but Clint, it's a good problem to have, right? We could be in the position that nobody wants to see our racing, and there's nobody vying for that attention. But it's the opposite of that, and we're going to get through it. So it does stink right now. Kevin Lacroix is trying to log in.
Well, when we get them, we'll hook up with them. Back to this for a minute. I think the big issue here is, for us, when there's 6 nights on All North Racing, 3 of those would have been pay-per-views anyway. So they just got switched over to All North Racing nights, which means they're no longer pay-per-view. You have all MAV TV Canada. They are free to watch. So that's the deal. And it's not like this content's totally blocked. You get it a week later after the broadcast release is. So this Friday we will be live streaming from 7:30 to 9, and then the entire race will be broadcast the following week. But we will switch over to MAV TV at 9 p.m. this Friday. Weekend, as we mentioned, pre-race autograph session and marketplace, backpack night. Make sure you get out and see us. And also going to be a great night of racing as we get down to 2 final nights in the point standings. Brighton, Adam, 2-day weekend for them, the 360s. All kinds of stuff going on this weekend.
Show, too.
I spoke to Mark today. It's been almost 20 years now that they've been doing the Labor Day Classic with the SOS. 2 nights of racing, Saturday and Sunday down at Brighton. So if you are a sprint car fan, have not been to Brighton, make sure you get down there and check it out. Of course, they have the Apple Fest shootout coming up on the 20th and 21st weekend of September as well. 2 huge shows down at Brighton. But if you're a 360 guy, I know a lot of the Sweden guys, even the ones who don't follow the SOS Tour, do make it a weekend of it. So go down and check it out this weekend. As we're moving on, let's talk about Dusty's duel on the Dusty's Dirty Dozen. So if you've not seen this, Dusty DeBoer, one of our racers at Weekend, does a great job putting together the Dirty Dozen. And I don't know if you got that graphic, Spencer, but if you can, throw it up there. So this is the rankings. And Dusty is an accounting major in college, if I understand correctly. And it's so cool to see these standings, Adam, come up every week. As you can see, week 17 here. And pretty much what he does, he takes the last three finishes and averages it against how many drivers these drivers are racing in each field. And that gives them a beaten percentage. And there you see Tristan Da Silva. Last week was number 6. This week with a solid run, ranks all the way up to first. And the big thing I like about this, Adam, is across the tracks that have a serious amount of mini stock racers, it's a great cross section, and they're color coded there. So you see, for example, 5 weekend regulars. You've got Merrittville and Humberstone regulars in there as well. It's just great. What are your thoughts on this? And I think it'd be awesome if every short track series division track had a guy like Dusty out there doing these stats. I'm not a big stats guy, but this is one sheet I look to coming out every week. Quick thoughts, Adam?
We tried to do this years ago with Dirt Track Digest in a similar setup with a strength of field calculation. So some fields were better than others, fields of cars, so you'd get more points for that. And Kevin Lacroix is struggling with the technology here. Now it says my camera is unavailable, trying to unlock in settings. And I'm just writing back, okay, let me know if you get it worked out. But I'm sure Spencer will let us know that in the background, the voice in our heads. So and Kevin Lacroix, see, people don't get to see the real personalities of some of these drivers. Some of them are funny, some of them are abrasive, and it's just awesome when you actually get to see them unleash their real personalities on us. So to go back, Clinton, I love what Dusty is doing. Anything that ties different racetracks together, different competitors together, and shows what they have to offer, how they're doing compared to others, even if they haven't been on the same racetrack, I think is pretty darn cool. And that's a lot of effort he puts into that.
He also did the duel in the dirt standings. Let's take a quick look at those. The mini stock standings are complete, and that season is over for the mini stocks. But the big one still to come is the Thunder stocks, and there you see the mini stock points are done. Tyler LaFontaine is the duel on the dirt champion for the mini stocks this year, unofficially, obviously, but it's pretty much officially, I guess we could say. Kyle Wirt second, Jonathan Ayrton, the Weekend drivers, finishing second and third. Then you've got Jay Moulton representing Merrittville, Evan Curtis from Humberstone, Cole Hardy representing Merrittville, and then Mike Santakis from Humberstone again. Matthew Moore, the lone Brighton driver, finishing in the top 8, which is good. Kudos for the Moore family. Fabio Oliveri from Weekend ninth, and the 10th place driver in the paying of the cash would go from Humberstone driver Dan McKay. Looking at the Thunder stocks, but this is the one still to come, Adam. This brings us to some hot news coming out today. With regards to the Thunder stock division, their point standings and their races are still to come. And there you see Southern Ontario Motor Speedway driver Steve Shaw leading the points right now. Actually, he's tied with Justin Ramsey from Brighton, I should say. Then you've got a couple of Humberstone Bleach Jr., Donnie Lamon, then two Weekend drivers, Sargent and Bailey, and then Fontaine, Purchase, and Beagle, and Austin Reed, a couple of Brighton drivers in the back. So great cross-section there, Adam. But if you look at the right column, the two combined races still to come are September 21st at Brighton and September 28th at Southern Ontario Motor Speedway. Well, that brings us to our next topic of the day, which is the fire news last night at Southern Ontario Motor Speedway. So, Spencer, I'm not sure what images you have of what we sent there, but the Southern Ontario Motor Speedway did have a fire there last night, Adam. This is their main concession and their tower building, and everything happens. Caught fire, and they've canceled racing for this weekend already due to the major fire damage. Obviously, my understanding of it from the insiders that I know have been there a long time, that is the main power source for the track as well. So all of the fire situation going through there, Adam, could be detrimental to the rest of the season. Of course, we're speaking unofficially. We've not spoken to Henry or anybody officially from the track, but just from the folks that we know have raced there a long time, their concern is that with 2 and 3 weeks to go in the season, will they be able to put this all back together, which would effectively affect the Duel on the Dirt Championship final race for the Thunderstocks, which was supposed to be at Southern Ontario Motor Speedway. So crazy imagery, and want to send our best out to one of our sister tracks, Henry, and all the staff out there. Hopefully they can get this back together and get everybody back on track sooner than later. But heavy damage there to the scoring tower and the main concession building. You can see it's pretty much gutted. Bad state of news, though. Thoughts, Adam, on that?
Thankfully, nobody was hurt. I mean, that's the main thing. That's going to be a tough thing to recover from. I hope it all works out. But, yeah, you never like to see that.
So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully they can get recovered up from that. And all the best to them guys. Quickly, I'm just going to jump ahead here. New format for the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals has been confirmed. It will be an alphabet soup style, meaning a D main with 10 laps. 6 will transfer to the C for 12 laps. C main, top 6 of that will transfer to the B for 15 laps. And the top 6 will transfer to the back of the A feature at the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, as opposed to a 3B main format that used to bring them all together. So excited to announce that new format for the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. That brings us to our last two topics of the day, Adam, which is the short track nationals this weekend at Jukasa Speedway and our Rivalz iRacing leagues coming up. We got 10 minutes to go. Of course, everybody, don't forget, we do have Rivalz pools up for this week at the Canadian Short Track Nationals. If you want to get in on them, 3 divisions are up: the Super Stocks, the Outlaw, Super Late Models, and the Pro Late Models for the Canadian Short Track Nationals. It's going to be an amazing show, Adam. Cars from all over coming in, certainly with Alex and the ownership group there we're hoping for. As you mentioned earlier in the show, a lot of people kind of maybe took a wait-and-see attitude to see, are they really going to pay the money? Is it going to be a rubber check? How is it all going to come about? Can it really be done for that kind of cash? And they showed that it could be done, and you're right, things have stepped up in a high gear this year. Car counts are up in all divisions. It's had a buzz since they announced it, and $75,000 to win is going to be a big weekend.
Well, and they're not stopping there. I mean, it's $75,000 to win this season, and they plan on increasing the purse over and over again. I'll tell you a quick story. A fan from Quebec was at CTMP this weekend for the NASCAR weekend. Drove down to Jukasa Motor Speedway, I believe Monday, Alex told me. Beautiful, beautiful motorhome. Parked out in front of the Speedway. Alex said, yeah, go ahead. You can stay there all week if you want to. He says, all right, I'd like a campsite for the weekend. I want to see the race. And I said, yeah, no problem. We'll be able to find you somewhere to park. And I guess the guy came in and looked around the facility. Alex Nagy gave him the grand tour. And a day later, so yesterday, he came and saw Alex. He says, I need 5 campsites now, maybe 7. I've got a lot of people coming from Quebec. This place looks amazing.
Yeah, Dean and Debbie, who were our sort of hosts this weekend at CTMP in our campsites, Dean called me about an hour ago before we went on the air, said he just put down a bunch of money on his brand new 5th-wheel trailer, and he's looking for something to do. And he said, I just drove past Jukasa on the way home from the deck on my trailer. They are lined up out to the road already. I think we may need to go camping in our new bus. They were going to go to Weedsport. Now I think they're thinking about coming to Jukasa instead. So we'll see how that one plays out. So the buzz is along, and as you see more and more people talking about it on social, it gets you excited to come out and be a part of that. So we're glad to be chosen as the ones who'll be on the microphones to bring the coverage. I'm excited to get back to our roots a little bit, because you and I did spend a lot of time at Cayuga back in the day, working for one of the previous ownership groups. So excited to bring back a bit of our short track style to those guys.
Okay, Clinton, and because we love being organized and because we like everything to happen in the proper order, I understand we have Kevin Lacroix joining us now. After a couple of attempts on his phone, he has switched over to his laptop computer. And Spencer, there we go. Kevin, can you hear us?
Do you? No.
Okay. Now I hear you. We're good. Thanks so much for joining us. And congratulations on the win at CTMP. We had Alex Tagliani on earlier, and I think you know his opinion. He wasn't thrilled with how that race ended. But talk about it from your standpoint. Actually, I'm going to ask you a longer question. You knew Andrew Ranger was having a bad day, so a second place finish would have been a great finish in the points for you.
Yeah.
You took a big chance making that move on Tagliani. Did it cross your mind at all on that last lap that maybe you shouldn't make a move at all? Maybe you should come home second, guaranteed good finish or good points day, or does that just all go right out the window because you want the win?
Well, I wanted the win for sure because I lost it the week before. I wanted to gain these points back, and the same way. And also, no matter what Andrew is having as a race, I had to make the most I could. And that move I made at the last lap, it worked about like 9 times during the race. Also, first race this year on Andrew Ranger on the second to last lap. That's the pass I did, the same overtake I did. So I really thought it was going to work out. We can see Tagliani making a switch from his normal race line to his right for the defensive move, and I think that's the thing that happened that we touched. And I thought about it a lot this week. Since Monday, and watched many replays, and I watched back the race, first race this year with Andrew Ranger, and we clearly see that it's the exact same move at the exact same time. So it's, from my point of view in the car, I was sure that the pass was going to happen cleanly. Doesn't happen, but you don't have a lot of time to think about it.
The cool down lap's coming. He's coming after. He's hot. What's going through your mind as you're coming down after you've taken that checker, Kevin?
Well, I've been there so many times before. I know what was going through his mind, and no, I was not in the same temper or same state of mind as him. So I just, I know what he was going through, and I accepted it. He bumped me on the side, and I was just waiting for him to be over with it. And you can use my car as you want. I know you're mad, but that's racing. I've been there, and that's it. So yeah, I was not in the same state of mind, and I was just happy about the win.
It was an exciting finish. I mean, that's got to be the sort of thing that you lay in bed just before you go to sleep and think, man, that was a crazy ending. The amount of ground you closed in at the end of that race was phenomenal. Kevin, you've been involved in this sort of thing time and time again. Rivalries at the front, they're always passionate. You're trying to win a championship. There's 3 races to go. Are you concerned about being around the 18 car for the rest of the season, or do you put that out of your mind?
Well, we're always concerned about any type of things. Really, it's the first time it happens with the 18 that he is a victim. We've been there together in the past, and looks like all the times that we came in contact, I was a victim and he was the aggressor. And just like you said on that live on the race, you said that after Riverside, I left the racetrack with a smile, and this is just racing. And it was the same thing in Edmonton last year when I led the all race. Tagliani punched me out, and I fell back fourth. And at the end of the race, I was there happy. And this is NASCAR. This is why people loves it. And that's racing. And that's what I think is still. No, even though this time I was the aggressor. That's what I think he should feel like, and get over it, and go to the next races. And like it happened to me before. First time it happened was with Labby in Riverside in 2017. I reacted very badly. I learned from it. I was new to stock car racing and bumping, so learned from my mistakes. And here I am now, much more mature. But Tagliani. At 40-something years old, I guess he's mature, and he'll get over it.
Kevin, the rules have been this way in NASCAR for years, so safe to say you guys know what the rules, that you're going to get away with these bump and runs, even in the late race stages. But in most of the short tracks that most of us grew up on, you take out the leader like that, you're coming back. So what's your opinion on this? Is this something that is good for the fans and is something NASCAR should go with? Obviously, you were the beneficiary of it this week, but in general, as a NASCAR racer, do you wish they would be a little more strict on the dump and runs, or do you feel this is something you guys should still be allowed to just take the gloves off and go at it for the fans each week?
Well, there's different way to think about it. There's safety going on, and there's also you have to please the fans. It's just like hockey. I don't know. I'm a big fan of hockey, and I watch the games and watch the comments on the internet, on the social media, and you see like the diehard fans that are sitting up there at the top of the stadiums. They always complain more that the ones at the bottom are just enjoying the show, and I think that's the thing with NASCAR. The loudest people, they're the minority, and I think the majority they like the show, and that's the only thing they want. And also, there's a lot of people that in Canada, I think, has a good Formula One base, fanatic of Formula One, and it's pretty different to NASCAR. And people that likes NASCAR is gonna like it. People that likes Formula One but are still watching NASCAR because it's Tagliani and Andrew Ranger. We come from single seaters racing. They're not gonna love that, but I think overall that's good for the show, as long as it's safe, as long as we keep the cars on track, and no, the Tagliani didn't spin, and that's all that matters.
That's pretty well said, Kevin. I've only got one more thing for you. We have some iRacing leagues that we run through the winter. Some of it's in dirt sprint cars. If you ever race a dirt sprint car in iRacing, and are you ready to come and race in our league with us?
Well, I got to install my kit back because I moved from another house like 3 years ago, and never got my simulator back on, so I have to do it. But every time I think about it, it's just okay, I'll do it tomorrow, and tomorrow never happens. So but for sure I want to get back on iRacing. That's really fun to play with, but I have to find the time to do it with work, racing, and kids, wife, and everything. But yeah, for sure I have to get back on it, and interesting.
Congrats on your win, and we'll be looking forward to talking to you. Good luck the rest of the season. Stay safe out there.
All right, thank you guys.
Hey, thanks for hanging in there. I know it was tough to get connected. We appreciate you being with us.
No problem.
That leads us into our final topic, Adam, our iRacing Rivals Leagues. And did you hear what that big-time NASCAR driver said? He called it playing iRacing, so I'm not that guilty after all.
He speaks English as a second language, you idiot. You
Still
speak
said it.
English as a first language and you screw it up. That's weak. That's one of the weakest arguments you've ever made out loud.
You still play the video game iRacing. We'll have that debate another day, but I don't want to insult everybody because we're excited.
We are excited, but we've got one more. Do you know we've got another guest, right? We have to close out with another guest, and his biggest fan is chatting with us on Facebook too.
No, go for it. Who is it?
Doug Leonard is with us, and Don Hill is on Facebook. Is Doug still with us, Spencer?
I thought you were going to say it was Miss Kruder was his number one fan. I think she's your number one fan.
Doug wanted to come on and call us out about something. Doug, your patience has been phenomenal because I know you've been hanging around. And hey, first off, Don Hill is online making comments, Doug, and I know he's your biggest fan. Would you like to say hello?
Hey, Don.
There we go. So you have a problem. An email gets sent. So every week an email gets sent out for Performer of the Week. How many people vote on that? Is there 8 or 9 people who vote on who should be Performer of the Week?
Yeah, it's a group of the staff.
So this week to me was fairly simple, I thought. And I wasn't even the first one to answer, but I gave my answer. And then here comes Doug Leonard throwing his weight around saying, you guys, what the hell are you thinking? So Doug, you said you wanted to point out how we were looking at this all wrong.
100%. You guys always call me out on my calls. So you two fools put in your vote, and I asked simply, are you basing it on because it's a popular win, or are you basing it on the performer? So you guys put a vote in for a first-time winner, and congratulations to him. But you neglect to forget the guy who drove from 18th to 2nd in 2 laps, and Clint interviewed him at Victory Lane and said that to him, which in my opinion is way better, way more of a performer than the first-time winner.
I don't really
I
have
just
much of an
assumed-
argument.
I
for
just
that.
assumed he
He's kinda
jumped the start and you missed the call, Doug. I just assumed he had to have jumped the original
No.
start. You probably blew the call, and away we go.
Doug,
I
you do
think
take
we-
a
Not at all.
pounding though.
So you mean
On some of these calls. How do you keep?
I
these
think
skins
we've
so
been
thick
too
with the big
supportive.
question?
I think we've been too supportive of Doug Leonard this year. Like, too many times we have actually had your back and said, wow, Doug Leonard made the right call. And I got to tell you, it's getting a little boring.
Well, I mean, how many years is the first time you guys agree with me? Because most times you get.
There's been times we've been at odds. See, everything is different. Now that we built a wall in the tower and Doug is on one side of the wall and we're on the other side, I kind of miss him. Like, I wish we could take Greg Calden and put him on the other side of the wall.
Well,
I
I
just
promised
closed
you
it off.
last week when Doug was having a meltdown over the timing and scoring system not working. You have the balls to open up the door and say, "Hey, Doug, why is race monitor down?" I'm like, "Hey, Wound, here's some salt and vinegar for you." Like that. That's a horrible thing to do when me and him are already fuming. You're such a prick sometimes.
Doug had just finished talking to you on the radio, and I could hear him clear as day. The F-bombs that were coming out of him, the frustration that was coming out of him. It's all in the delivery, because I tried to wait till he was done and wait long enough time that he might not realize I'd overheard him having his little temper tantrum and just think it's an honest question, which I was hoping would infuriate him even more, but it didn't. He handled it like a champ.
The only F words I was using was talking about fish behind me and fudge.
Well, we can relate to that. Doug, while we've got you, we've got to close this off for a little over time. Did you happen to watch what we were talking about with NASCAR? Did you watch that end of the Canadian Tire? What is that a call that you would make as the race director?
It's the NASCAR way, right? I mean, and I think Kevin brought it up. Some of his lines, and that he drove a different line in the laps that I saw in quarter 10 than he did on the final lap. I mean, and sometimes people call that radio racing. He's the leader. He can choose which line he runs, and he's accepting his position. I feel Kevin probably had a
So I think
you go ahead.
I think we're losing your connection, Doug. You're breaking up a little bit there. But I think so. In closing, I want to get you on more often. I think we could have a lot of fun chatting with Doug and going over calls, Clinton, and chatting it out. We're going to have to drop Doug at this point. That's a great pose that he's in to close it out. It just looks like you're freezing up. But let's work on this moving forward, Clinton, because I think we could have a lot of fun. So we'll thank Doug for joining us. We'll talk about it at the racetrack, but the connection was too spotty that we just couldn't make it work.
Don't forget, everybody, get out and make your Rivalz picks, racerivals.com for this week's Canadian Short Track Nationals. Also, pools are up for Oshweekend this week as well. Adam, we're still adventuring out with this technology more and more, so connections are a little bit dicey and slicey, but we will continue to work on them. We thanks everybody for your patience for hanging out. As we mentioned, new things we're trying here and just having fun from our home offices, and Spencer is across the province putting it all together, linking it all back through our Oshweekend network, and it's been great. We've got some cool stuff coming up in the next few weeks. Busy weeks ahead. Anything you want to say to take us home?
No, that was fun. The nice thing about this format, Clint, is an interview can go on for, like, an interview that we think is going to take 3 minutes can go on for 10 minutes. And you know what? It's Alex Tagliani. We're going to let him talk. It's Kevin Lacroix. We're going to let him talk. It's Matt Williamson. That's the nice thing, right? We're just talking heads. People can hear us all the time, but the power of our guests makes it such that we can let it go on, and we have that leeway. So thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate every one of you.
I think you need to. Yeah, Hunter's asking me for prediction on Labor Day winner. Are you asking me for Brighton? I would have to pick Dylan Westbrook if he's there. Obviously, maybe McDeman goes out. He won the Action Sprint Tour race there in the past, but yes, West got a ton of great guys going on there. Yeah,
a Turner's going to win.
No, that's not a bad choice either.
Yeah,
good call.
Ryan Turner, in fact.
My comment to everybody in closing is the season is rapidly winding down. If you are thinking about bringing somebody new out to the races, this is the week to do it. Get some new folks out there. We'd love to see you at Oshweekend this week or at Jukasa. Of course, Oshweekend, we got our big promo. Come on out and help us fill the O for television. All North Racing kicks off 9 o'clock on MAV TV Canada, so make sure you're there, and that's powered by Pinty's. It is Pinty's night at Oshweekend. Want to thank them for everything they do. Adam, we may be popping up with a show on Saturday or Sunday over the weekend, but I looked at the schedule from Jukasa. It is jam-packed. I don't know when you think we're going to get one in. I'm not sure if as the announcers we can mess around during Pro Late Model practice, but we will have some fun there. We will be there. If you're at Jukasa, come up and say hi to us. Let us know what you want to hear on this program or anything else we're involved with. We'd love to hear questions and comments.
And I'm going to be set up outside of turn number 4 with a trailer there. We're camping for the weekend, so stop on by and let's chat by the campfire.
I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you shortly at the races. Don't forget, we'll be back up with tomorrow's live stream. The kids are live from Oshweekend with the micro sprints. And quickly in closing, one of the best fun I had last week, I saw Greg and McLean Callan walking up the driveway, and I just had to say, hey, it's my favorite announcer. And his dad threw one at Greg for a minute, but good times. Check it out. We'll be on the air at 7 o'clock tomorrow with micro sprints. We'll be on the air 7:30 Friday with the live stream until we go on at 9 o'clock. Clinton, Geoffrey, Adam Ross, peace out. Spencer, thanks for everything you do. Always a pleasure.